We got a brand new merch design, the three pure-blooded Saiyans in their most powerful forms. Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, and Full Power Broly right now in the Geekdom 101 store. Get it in many colors and sizes, a variety of options for you to choose from. Whatever you think looks the best. And if you don't want like a regular shirt, there are tons of different design choices. You can get a mouse pad. You can even get it on a hat or a baseball cap. For a limited time only, the link will be in the description. The final battle has indeed truly begun here with Dragon Ball Daima episode 17 called Goma. This is it. I think that not only has the final battle now begun, but also now I think that this is the episode that a lot of people have been waiting for. All the pieces on the chessboard have been set, and now the final battle is playing out. We have the introduction between Arinsu, Majin Ku, Majin Du, and of course Goku and his group, and they prepare to sort of duel it out for the Dragon Balls. As Goma, if you remembered at the end of last week's episode, got his hands on the third eye, the demonic third eye. We've been talking about this going all the way back to episode 1, and now has unlocked and untapped the highest form of demonic magic in the demon realm. Now he is, I mean, if you look at him, he looks like a great value Jiren. I'm sorry, but it's true. But that being said, we saw him in action in this episode, and the powers that he showed, like, you know, again, it's not like I hadn't been hinting at this for a while about what I was told about the third eye. And, you know, this Goma's abilities have been extremely enhanced. He has far and away phenomenal telekinetic power. I mean, phenomenal telekinetic power. He has much more of a combat body. I mean, again, great value Jiren. They even have the same muscles. I mean, the muscles are almost identical. Just, you know, a little bit of a different face. Then you've got his speed has gone up, his accuracy, and it seems like nothing is working. So what's going to work? That is the intriguing question leaving this week's episode. But yes, I really did like this episode. There were animation cuts that were mind-blowing. There was camera work. So remember how awesome the camera work was in Dragon Ball Super Broly? There are multiple sequences in this episode that utilize tremendous animation skills. There are parts of the fight where the camera's panning around the heroes and the villains. There's a scene where everyone's firing ki blasts at Goma in the second half of the episode, and Goma's just sort of dispersing them away, or, you know, in some ways deflecting them. With, like, he has like a body shield, like an energy shield that's granted to him by the third eye. And so there's all these great, like, camera goes over here, you know, goes around the characters. Stuff that we've seen, like, in the Broly movie. They brought back some of those techniques. I believe Ryo Onishi was on this episode, and he animated some of the Super Saiyan God Goku versus Broly fight from the Broly movie. So he's on staff here, and it shows. They really took it to the next level, and I'm happy to say there's going to be a lot of interest now, because this fight, we've only seen the first part of the fight. There are still 3 more episodes to go in Dragon Ball Daima after this one, but the first part of the fight has begun, and it's extraordinarily good so far. Like, it's great. It's typical final boss where it's not just Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo. They're the first ones to hop into the fight, but then Ku and Du, and then Neba goes and wakes up Tamagami 1, and Tamagami 1 joined them. Dude, I marked out so hard. He's like winking at him, and then bam, there he goes, trying to help. So basically everyone has to work together to beat Goma. He refers to himself as King Goma, so I'm guessing that going forward, when it comes to merchandise, or if you're playing Dokkan or any of the DLC, I'm guessing that this final form of Goma is King Goma. That's probably going to be the official title of it. But I want to continue telling you about the episode and what I thought about it. So the first half of the episode, it was all about the Arinsu and her group and Goku's group, and they're all sort of meeting up, and they play the Arinsu theme that that she had in the first episode. And sort of we go from there, and then they want to, what they do is they want to set it up to where they're going to fight for the Dragon Balls, and it's more like a fight for sport than a fight to kill, and it's Goku against Majin Buu, and they start fighting, and then meanwhile, everybody else on the sidelines, there were a couple of funny parts, like, there was a part where Vegeta wanted to play rock, paper, scissors, like, that type of stuff was fine. But it didn't take up that much time, although I do think they could have gotten to the fight a little bit faster, I will say that. So Goku and Do have this like fight for sport, and Goku's in base form. He's using the stick. He to like sort of block Majin Buu's shots. This was a lot of fun. Lots of callbacks to the fights with Majin Buu, especially the Kid Buu fight. There were a bunch of moves that we saw Kid Buu do to Goku that they kind of did like modern versions of here, or, sort of did a throwback to it. The stretchy arms and the like jello body that he has. There's a part where Goku punches him and like in the stomach, and then dude just like pops it out. Like it was pretty funny. Goku goes Super Saiyan to keep the fight going because he realizes that this guy's not that easy. He's not just a random grunt. He might not be the strongest in Daima, far from it, but he's not just going to be a jobber. And he goes in there with Goku, and they have a pretty fun little fight with some, like I said, a lot of fast movements, great animation. I'll do a breakdown of the fight in my breakdown, so we'll talk more about it there. But yeah, the second half of this episode, Goma shows up and they all team up against him. Dr. Arinsu allows Ku and Du to go fight, like go help them. So everyone's got to work together here on all sides to stop this maniac. And dude, the second half of this episode elevated this whole thing so high. This is my favorite episode of Daima so far. Episode 12 was my favorite. This has now become my favorite. And it's all because of the second half. The first half was fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not worth watching. But the second half's quality when they kicked in all the incredible fight scenes. There is a long sequence with a first person perspective. Ryo Nishi had done it in the Broly movie. Same thing here, where they're all going towards Goma and you're right behind Goku. Well, it's more like a third person. Not first person, third person. And you're right behind Goku. You see the camera moving around, like just incredible stuff. Everyone tries their techniques. Goma gets knocked back off the screen, then comes back into the frame. Just incredible stuff, man. And while this is going on, the music, I gotta put over the music. This actually felt like final boss music of an RPG. It had the little violins, like it actually felt like final boss music. Like this, they are unquestionably telling you, without telling you, even though they are telling you, that this is the final battle. Plus, over on social media, Toei and the official Dragon Ball accounts have posted that they posted one more trailer with no new footage except for the stuff from this episode, and it's called the Climax trailer, basically saying that Dragon Ball Daima is ending, so you might want to get on now, which is big news because next week is the big one. Episode 18 of Daima is what I've been talking about going back to September, that everyone's going to be talking about. If you are trying to avoid being spoiled next week before you watch it, I would highly recommend getting off of all social platforms until you see the episode, right? And this is not about me and me like revealing anything. I'm not going to, but everyone is going to be talking about it. It's going to be Instagram pages, Facebook pages, guaranteed, like Blue Sky. All of them are going to be talking about it with images from the episode that people are going to be sharing all over the world. So just be mindful of that going into next week. But man, go out of your way to see this Goma clip, man. Or I say watch the whole episode because it was incredible. There was also an interesting conversation with Supreme Kai and his sister Rinsu, where he's like assuming that she wants what Degetsu wants, which is to become the ruler of the demon realm, and she's like, "No, I want a more fierce demon realm. I want a more powerful demon realm," and that I thought was interesting. I don't know if that's foreshadowing for a story later on, or if we're going to get more answers on that later. But it's not exactly the same thing. She's kind of saying, "I don't need to rule this thing. I just want the demon realm to improve." But the thought of a peaceful demon realm, that's not up her alley. But hey, I don't think Goku really gives a damn what happens in the demon realm unless, until his stuff is fixed, he becomes an adult again. They take Dende out of there, go back to the outer world. I don't think that anybody really cares all that much about if there's peace in the demon realm or not, but she does not want it. I mean, I would assume that Neba and Nahade both want it because, they're just benevolent guys. I don't think Goku cares that much, although now that he's friends with Pansy and Glorio, we'll see if that friendship would continue past Daima, because that's obviously, we don't know what the future holds for these characters right now. We just don't know. And she's the one that wants to turn it into a game. Like, she wants to turn it into, okay, you pick one guy, I pick one guy, and that's how we end up with Goku versus Majin Buu. It was her idea. You would think it'd be Goku's idea, but no, it was her idea. Kind of reminds me of how when they had the Cybermen, when Nappa and Vegeta showed up, Nappa and Vegeta were the ones that wanted to make it into a little game. Where it was one-on-one for a bit. So it's sometimes the bad guys, play around especially when they're overconfident, right? And one thing I want to note is that Goku punches Majin Buu square in the face and does the whole cheek bending thing. And Majin Buu ate it, and that is somewhat of a big deal for these characters, because maybe not outside of it, but for these characters, because remember, Majin Buu beat Tamagami 1, and Goku had only fought Tamagami 3, but Goku knew Tamagami 1 was the strongest. They get stronger the closer you get to the middle of the demon realm, like the red area. So, Super Saiyan 2 Goku is what beat Tamagami 3, so I don't think Super Saiyan 1 Goku would beat Majin Buu. So, like I said, for the level of these characters, Ku and Buu, nowhere near on the level of the original Majin Buu. We've already established that. But Buu is a lot tougher than I think people gave him credit for. So when Goma actually appears to interrupt, he does this thing where it was really awesome, this sequence. He turns the little area they're in of the castle, like little area next to the palace, to this big fighting arena. He uses telekinetic powers. It's kind of like how the Grand Priest in Super, in those episodes when he was building the Tournament of Power arena, it's like very similar, or kind of like how Cell built the Cell games, where it was all like telekinetic powers, except he like destroyed a bunch of rocks and molded them, again, like Cell, and created this sort of cage type of area. It looked really badass. Like, that's gonna look great for the video games when the time comes. And also, I should note that Arinsu and Neba both are very upset that this guy's got the third eye, and because Neba straight up says that grants the user an incredible amount, a very high level of magic power, and that's why we see Goma dominate everybody in this episode. And as expected, Vegeta's the first one to challenge Goma. That was very in character of him. He does that sometimes, especially in the Dragon Ball movies, where he'll be the first one to just get right into it. And he's the first one to go after Goma. And it starts off, pretty basic, Vegeta not really going all out, but he starts getting more and more frustrated because he underestimates Goma. And here comes Goma just with the third eye. It's not going to be a walk in the park. The highlight would be when Goma actually blocks Vegeta's punch with one finger, which is literally what we saw Jiren do to Super Saiyan God Goku in Dragon Ball Super Episode 109. Like, it's the same thing. I mean, we saw Beerus do similar stuff too with the one finger, but here, the way that it was positioned was easily, like, it's like they know, like the creators of this show know that this is basically great value Jiren. Like, they know this, that it has to be purposely done as a troll job because Toriyama likes to do things like this. It's the weird sense of humor of the people who make this show. They're going to throw in Easter eggs. And remember, it's a 40th anniversary show, so we're going to get stuff from Dragon Ball, Z, GT, and Super and Heroes. That's what I've been saying, and now you're seeing it. And this episode had a lot of Dragon Ball Super in it, a lot of Dragon Ball Z, mostly Super, though, because it reminded me more of the Super era of like the way it looks, the actual, you know, the animation's a little bit better here than in the Tournament of Power fights, but those were the best looking Dragon Ball Super episodes, and this is the best looking Daima episode so far. You know, that it's just very modern and very, it just looks great. It's a very beautiful looking episode. But like I said, there's a lot of little Easter eggs and throwbacks to the last 40 years. And it's interesting because when Goku asks for help, that is uncharacteristic of Goku because Goku prefers to fight one-on-one. He's a martial artist. So this just goes to show that this opponent, Goku can tell, is not going to be someone that's going to have honor or want to fight one-on-one. This is an actual threat to them. And so then everybody jumps in. And we have that incredible sequence that I'm going to be watching a bunch of times because it looks so damn great. So well done. At one point, the little pouch that Goku has with the revive bugs and everything in there falls out. And at one point, Vegeta asks for a revive bug, and he's like, I think I lost the pouch. So it's not like clumsy like what happened to Gohan and Z where he missed the Senzu bean. It's more so like like it just fell out of his pocket, out of his gi when he wasn't noticing because he was focused on the fight. And Goma's making it look easy, man. He's deflecting energy blasts and creating energy shields and knocking everybody down just using the power of his mind. Like the third eye kicks in and does everything for him. Or what it could be is that he's so fused with that third eye that he can just think of something and the third eye will do it. So he'll think, okay, I need to block this, and the third eye will kick in and do it. Either way, he's very dangerous. The point of this episode was to tell everybody he was very dangerous. The cliffhanger to this episode is Goku's about to die, and he actually gets saved by Ku and Du, and that was a nice moment. And then Goku powers up to Super Saiyan 3. So we're seeing for the first time Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku and Daima. And that is the cliffhanger for next week. In the next episode preview, it's Goku fighting Goma and Super Saiyan 3. That's all they showed, but there's a lot more to come in episode 18 of Daima, let me tell you. Trust me on that one. The scene with the 6-way beam attack was incredible, bro. Goku, Kamehameha, Vegeta does the Galick Gun, Piccolo does the Makanko Sapo / Special Beam Cannon, Glorio and Supreme Kai. All the characters here just fire all these blasts at Goma, but he creates a force field around himself and just deflects it all off of him like nothing, knocking everybody away. So that was another big highlight of this episode I wanted to throw in there. Make sure you're caught up on Daima by watching all the breakdown videos, and the next one's going out tomorrow, so I'll be working on that all day today, and I'll have it out for you guys tomorrow. Write in the comments your thoughts on this episode of Daima, and we'll have much more to discuss this whole week because we're at the end. We're at the end game, folks. See you soon.